Of Seattle Hemp Fest. Would you please give a warm welcome to somebody that I think has something to say, Mr. Vivian McPeak.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Us of all. We're being spoiled today. Nice weather, too. You know, I came down here today. I was asked to speak about the poster ban, and I'm prepared to do that. But first, I'd like to say a couple words about a disease that's very dangerous and threatens us all. A disease called MS, a very insidious disease that can strike at the very root of your ability to move, your very ability to communicate. MS is dangerous. MS must be stopped. And I'm not talking about multiple sclerosis. I'm talking about the disease called Mark Sidran. Seattle City Attorney Mark Sidran. It spells scams. Think about it. Seattle City Attorney Mark Sidran. Scams. The reason I'm taking this personal is because you can thank Mark Sidran, the Seattle City Attorney, for the anti-poster ordinance which is in existence today. An ordinance which is specifically designed to target financially challenged people, financially disadvantaged citizens, and left-of-center political organizations, and music culture organizations, clubs, and bands, and it's been very effective. In 1994, after I had already attended the hearings for the proposed poster ban, and the ban had been passed, and I was fully aware of it, I was apprehended by 5 Seattle police officers at University and 45th, taping a paper flyer to a metal pole, my favorite pole actually, the one right by Bartell's on 45th and the Ave. I don't know who, someone's been writing my name periodically on that pole for years, ever since that incident. And whoever they are probably captured on the bank teller, the cash machine video that's right across the thing that captures everything that happens on the Ave. But anyway, I was taping a paper flyer to a metal pole, and I was apprehended by 3 bicycle officers and 2 foot cops, and they gave me a $250 ticket for taping that flyer to the pole. Now, you could probably drive backwards at 70 miles an hour on the Ave and not get a $250 ticket. But for some reason, taping a paper flyer to a metal pole was a $250 violation. I was also informed that each additional poster they found of the nature of the posters that I was putting up would be an additional $50. I was very fortunate because I had the opportunity to take that ticket, turn it over on the back, and click a box, sign a box, check a box that says, I plead not guilty. I demand a trial. I had a trial. I've had several trials, and I've got another one coming up. All on the same thing. So I went into court, and I had my trial in municipal court, and I had a real high-profile trial. The stranger really propped me. Did several pages on the issue, dedicated almost the whole issue to the subject of the poster ban. Chris Novoselic from Nirvana came and testified in my defense. Paul Dorpat, Seattle historian, testified for my defense. Several luminaries in the Seattle poster scene, poster artist Art Chantry came and testified to my defense. But I was under no illusions of grandeur. I did not expect that I was going to beat the city's law in the city's court with the city's judge. I know better than that. But I got my message out, and I showed that somebody who's willing to stand up and defy this absolutely unconstitutional, archaic, discriminatory ban that makes a criminal out of somebody who puts a missing child poster on a pole, a lost dog poster on a telephone pole or a light pole, a yard sale poster, a band poster. When that law was passed, Seattle was the leader of the music scene of the world. Seattle was the music capital of the world. Now the Seattle music scene is practically dead. Why do you think that is? In 1988, I started a group called the Seattle Peace Heathens. From that time to now, we've done all kinds of crazy and wild positive things. Things from putting out a crisis resource directory guide, 21,700 of them for free, to doing security to political events, to putting on the Seattle Hemp Fest, We got started one way. There's only one way we would have been able to form our group and to get going and publicize our events, and that was putting flyers on poles. Our country was founded by putting flyers on poles. They called them broadsides and standards. Thomas Paine with the American Revolution. This country is founded with free speech, with the ability of citizens to communicate between each other with a harmless poster on a pole. Now this law, this anti-poster ordinance was passed under the guise, under the lie, under the deceit and the false assumption that those posters were putting the best interests and the health of Seattle City light line workers at risk because they were climbing up the poles and getting injured by the staples and falling down. I find that to be interesting because there's not a city, excuse me, I'm really tired, haven't got much sleep, not feeling too good right now, but this is such a great cause that I'm fucking motivated to be here. So I'll try to articulate the best with my recycled neuron and the 2 brain cells that I saved for this particular auspicious occasion. No, seriously, there's not a single report filed with City Light, with the City of Seattle documenting an injury with a City Light line worker because of a poster. Not one. It's a lie. Mark Sidran is lying. Mark Sidran is the enemy of the poor people of this city. Mark Sidran is the enemy of the music culture of this city. Mark Sidran is the enemy of any left politics or non-conventional politics of this city. He ran unopposed last year. You can't sit on the freaking sidewalk. You can't sit on a bus bench anymore at a bus stop. Where does it end? Where does it end? The drug abatement law now. Now if you operate a club and somebody leaves your club and they create a nuisance a block down the street, it's your fault. Well, you know, there's a Mariners game and a poor unfortunate Seattle firefighter was stabbed in the parking lot of a Mariners game. Are the Mariners at fault? Of course not. It's not even an issue because this is a discriminatory law that is single-handedly, selectively picking out unequal enforcement on the marginalized small sector of this city that they feel can't stand up for itself. We will stand up for ourselves. We're going to turn this law over. It's a piece of crap and it's bull. I was given... Wake up and smell the police state coming in to your city, your neighborhood, your living room, and your bloodstream and your bladder. We've got to stand up and say no. We spell this America with a C, not with a K. We're going to keep it that way. You know, I think it's interesting. I got a $250 ticket. This thing's cramped my style. I got to move around here. I got a $250 ticket for taping a paper flyer onto a metal pole. Now, I would like to meet the City Light line worker who got injured with a paper cut while they were climbing up a metal light pole. How does that law, if this law is really about city light workers climbing telephone poles, then why the hell is it a $250 fine to tape a paper flyer onto a light pole, and it's our city property anyway? We paid for those poles, we own those poles, and you know, personally, free speech is a real hassle sometimes. Sometimes it's a real bummer. Freedom is the price that we pay. Excuse me. The price that we pay for freedom is having to tolerate, exist with, and live side by side with people whose ideas, concepts, lifestyles we find putrid and unacceptable. But in return, we get that freedom ourselves. It's because of the First Amendment of the Constitution, because people like Tim Crowley and Free Speech Seattle hold events right now like this. It's because of events just like this that we even still have the First Amendment of the United States. We must invoke our privileges of free speech every chance we get, or they will take them away increment by increment by increment. They will chip away and chip away and chip away at our freedom until it's a tendril hanging there and we wake up one day and go, Jesus Christ, I'm in Nazi Germany. What happened? What happened? Right now, in Europe, the Holocaust is happening all over again. It was only 50 years ago that the Nazis murdered millions of people just a mere generation ago. People are still alive. And it's happening right now. And we're lucky to be in America. You know, I'm not always proud to be an American. I'll be honest with you, I'm not always proud to be an American. I feel very fortunate, very blessed to be an American. I'm very lucky. I feel very privileged to be an American. I'm proud of many aspects of America. In many ways, it's the greatest country in the world that's ever existed. And in many ways, America is the biggest offender. It's a double standard, and it's a hypocrisy. And it's a plutocracy. If I had my way, it'd be a vivocracy, but that ain't going to happen. Thank God. So anyway, I want to get back to my subject matter, and it's not the poster ban. It's the source of the poster ban. And I'll tell you who the source of the poster ban is. I'll make it real personal. It's Seattle City Attorney Mark Sidran. What is wrong? What is wrong with this man? Why do you hate us so bad? Why do you hate our freedom? What are you jealous of, Mr. Sidran? What is your problem? Leave us alone. This is not your city, Mark Sidran. Back off. Let us live our lives in peace. We're not hurting anybody. The gall of that man, the nerve. He says he'd like to think of Giuliani as the Mark Sidran of Seattle, of New York. Excuse me, it's the other way around, Mr. Sidran. And if I wanted to live under a fascist, I'd move to New York and live under Giuliani. It's time that we vote Mark Sidran out of office. Send him to California. Send him to New York and he can work under Mayor Giuliani. And there can be two fascists there. I'm sorry to sound so uptight about it, man, but I cannot control my rage, my disgust, and my livid horror at what this one single man with his laws have been doing to our city. I love Seattle. It's the greatest city in the world. I'm proud to be here. And we're going to have to take Seattle back. You know, we got these city council members, and they go, and they campaign as a liberal Democrat. Most of them. It's the only way you can really get elected in the city council in Seattle is to campaign as a liberal Democrat. And then once they get in, it's the same old story. It's the status quo. It's the big bucks. It's the corporate interest. It's all the same stuff. Why are they passing Mark Sidran's laws? What is wrong? Speak out, folks. You know, when I went to the hearings back in 1993, there were so many posters on the telephone poles in Seattle. There were so many bands playing at so many clubs, so frequently, that you almost couldn't get your arms around a telephone pole, man. They were freaking huge. Yet when the public hearings were posed to give the citizens, us, me, you, this city, the citizens, the right to come and to speak out against this putrid and insipid law, this law that stunts our free speech and our ability to communicate with each other within our community, which is what community is about. It's ripping apart community. It's destroying our ability to communicate. When I went to the hearings to protest this law, how many musicians do you think were there? Me, Matt Fox, and Phil West. 3 musicians that happened to be political activists. That was it. Where were the bands? Where were the musicians? Where were the club owners? Where was the Rocket? Where were you? I don't understand. So they passed the law. Excuse me, bro? What was that now? I don't know shit from Shinola? Huh? Oh, sorry, sir. I did not realize that you were the supreme godhead of the universe. Fortunately, I have a microphone and you don't. I don't know shit from Shinola, but I do know fascism when it's this close to my face, my good friend. I respect your opinion, but I disagree with it respectively. So I'm going to continue. Thank you. Anyway, Anyway, what do we have now? We've got a situation where every spring, here I am, I'm on appeal to the State Court of Appeals of the state of Washington with my court case. I lost in municipal court, I lost in Superior Court, and now I'm on appeal, and I'll take it to the state Supreme Court, and I'll take it, if I can, to the federal Supreme Court. Because sooner or later, if we don't do it, which we probably will this year, I believe we're going to overturn the law. And if not, it's going to be up to me. And if I can't do it, somebody else is coming. Because you cannot put a lid on the people of the United States of America. You cannot put duct tape across our mouths. You cannot staple our hands to our butts. Because we have a voice, and we're going to use it. Mark Sidran, you are not loved by the city of Seattle, buddy. You are not loved. Not by anybody I know. It's time to repent your sins and start looking out for the interests of not just your corporate buddies, not your big business development buddies, but the citizens that hired you, the citizens that pay your rent, the citizens you work for, the little people, the people that are working hard every day trying to get by, the people that are trying to have a freaking yard sale, man. We're trying to find their lost dog. We're trying to promote their band. In my court case, Mark Sidran's assistant city attorney, Mark Mayo, tried to say that all we were looking for was free commercial advertising. And he held up the rocket and the strange and he showed these little tiny ads and said, look, they have alternatives. They could put a little free ad in the rocket. Oh yeah, that's really going to matter. Like that's really going to help. A free ad in the rocket. It's about this big. You're going to put a free ad in the rocket saying that your daughter's missing? Probably not. Anyway, he tried to say that it was free commercial advertising. You know how much a band makes in Seattle when they play a club? A four-piece band? Man, you're really lucky if you come out of there with $200 between four people. That's $50 a piece. You got to promote your event. You got to buy bass strings and guitar strings and drumsticks and skins. How in the hell are you supposed to make it? Oh, but there's alternatives. You could take out an Ackerley billboard, or you could take out a full-page ad in let's see, what do you got? Seattle's Best Coffee. They have no problem, do they? They can take out a full-page ad in the Seattle Times. What the hell are we supposed to do? We will not be marginalized. We will not be swept off the sidewalk like we're a cigarette butt. We will not be shoved under the carpet of communication and free speech and expression because we flat out refuse. And this is why I am proud to be an American, because under my First Amendment rights, my constitutional rights of free speech, I have the right to stand up here and disagree with that gentleman over there who was calling me names and profanities. I've got the right, he's got the right. I would fight to the death for his right to scream profanities at me, because that's what America is supposed to be about. Mark Sidran says that he's proud. He's proud of the hatred that certain people in the city have for him. He feels that he's cleaning up the streets. He's cleaning up the neighborhood. He's taking the garbage disposal and washing it out with bleach. He's rinsing out the mouth of Seattle with soap. I would tend to say that he's on the verge of being a fascist Nazi bastard. And I don't understand. I don't get it. It takes a lot to get me up here to speak negative stuff about one individual. It takes me feeling like my rights, my freedoms, and my liberties are being stripped off like peels, like layers of skin, until we get down to the very bone, the very core of what's left, the marrow of our bodies. This is insane, it's wrong, it's unjust, it's illegal, it's unconstitutional. The poster ban is a crime. The poster ban is criminal. The poster ban is ridiculous. You talk to any free-thinking, rational person who thinks for themselves, who has two halves of a brain that talk to each other, and you tell them the whole story, and they say it's crap, and they don't understand it. Where is the music scene now? The music scene now is in Portland, Seattle. Our music scene has gone to Portland, Seattle, where you can do what? You can put flyers up on poles. Oh my God, a flyer on a pole. What a tragedy. How petrifying. Oh, just think of what could happen. There could be 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 10 flyers. On every other pole could have flyers all across the city. Bands, oh my gosh, yard sales, it would be terrible. Lost dogs, missing children, it'd be a nightmare. I'd have to run for my life. I'd have to move to another city like, I don't know, maybe New York. That's right, I moved to New York where they barricade the streets and check your IDs you come in because they're bringing up a police state. There's only one thing that'll get me to shut up. There's only one thing that will get me to stop talking about the fact that Mark Sidman has got these fascist laws he's putting on us, and that's the fact that Dinsdale has to play. If Dinsdale wasn't such a kick-ass and rocking band, I might just defy them, turn my back, pretend they're not here, and keep talking. But I don't have that kind of free speech today, and I don't want it. I'm very appreciative for all the folks who worked so hard on this initiative. If you haven't signed the initiative, please do. If you're not registered to vote, please register to vote. If you're an anarchist and you think that registering to vote is a waste of time, do it anyway and sign the initiative and don't vote on anything, for Christ's sakes, man. You know, come on, man. It's us against them. Let's change that. Let's make it a country, a world of us, where we don't have to be at odds, and that way people like Mark Sidman can put rapists and murderers and thieves and true criminals behind bars and quit wasting our precious resources, our precious money, and our precious time on bullshit like the poster ban, which makes criminals out of good, decent, law-abiding citizens. It's time we speak out. Tell everybody you know not to sign the initiative, to get the initiative, to get to the streets, to get signatures. It don't depend on somebody else to win you your freedom, or you're going to wake up one day and find out you have none left. I love you. Thank you very much. Tim, give Tim Crowley a big hand.
And give Vivian McPeak a big hand. On fire as always.
Very nice.
He brought presents too.